All right, welcome back to Let's Do Video. I'm excited for this one because I have something actually really different and fun to share with you. First, let me introduce my guest, Raph Briner. Raph, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, David. I'm the Swiss guy based in Europe. Not to be confused with Sweden. Switzerland, it's another country, a very small country close to France, and in Geneva, in fact. And I'm the CEO, founder, inventor of Visible.
Awesome, great. Thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing me to be the first, I think, to share this virtual demo we're going to have of Visible. And first, I just want to say it's great to have you in our executive boardroom. So it was nice to be able to fly you all the way in from Switzerland, and Switzerland, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yes. And you know, I've never been there. I want to go there someday, but I don't know how you get any work done because it is so beautiful. I would just be walking around outside all the time. From what I've seen.
No, it's not only about Alps and campaign. We have cities and with a lot of people. It's quite crowded. In fact, it's a moving country with a lot of innovation, and we are part of those great country. I mean,
Yes.
I wish we could see more American people here. Definitely. Come
Well,
on, come here,
I want to
guys.
be one of them. I'm going to fly over. But let's get to the product because this is interesting.
Yep.
I'm going to talk about my perspective on it, but first let's get a quick overview.
Unbelievable, seriously.
I am super happy to announce a new product today. Worldwide launch, unknown, new form factor, and for huddle room.
Yeah, that was last week. Last week.
There's also a full keynote. I'll put a link to it in the description so people could see the full keynote. Now, if anyone's out there a little confused, let me kind of first explain, I think, the problem that this solves. And the problem that it solves is that, you know, Raph isn't really here. You know, ideally, I magically could, because that's the best. That's Let's Do Video. I love video conferencing, but the best is being here in person. But we can't always do that. So when we can't do that, what we do is first option is we just use the phone. A disembodied voice. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear you somewhere. This isn't any way to get work done. So what we do is we use our monitor. This is how we video conferencing, and this solves so many problems. You're in HD, beautiful location. I love where you are, and you're big. You're on my screen. The audio is great, but I'm having a little bit of an issue here. First of all, I just lost my screen. What if I want to show you the video again? We got to figure something out. And second of all, I'm a little too old for this. I'm not. My headbanging days are over from when I was young and used to rock and roll. So, but this is just the way the world is. But I've been noticing a new trend, which is putting cameras in the middle of the table, so that way you're looking at the camera, you make better eye contact. And this is validated. The leaders in our industry are coming out with these solutions. But I still have. I have the camera on the table, and I still have. So let's demo Visible. Let me zoom out here, and let's get you off the wall and see. So is this the experience? Is this your dream come to life?
Exactly. Which is basically to put remote people in the center of the conversation.
So now
exactly what you did.
I'm just looking forward at you. I'm making the camera's on the top of the unit. I see the little camera there. So I'm making perfect eye contact with it. And if we had more friends to join us in our, wonderful, beautiful executive Let's Do Video boardroom, I could just be looking around the table and we could have a normal conversation. And I have my monitor back. We could watch the video again if we need to.
Exactly. The idea is to have a second screen. So we only display faces in the center. So like this, you keep your existing TV, which is working very well since 5 years maybe, and you just put this second screen which are in fact 4 screens. So we repeat the same image. It's a squared form factor. And basically you can have 1 or 10 or 20. In fact, we don't control this. So it's Zoom or Microsoft who define if they have to display 20 or even 50, 30 people. It's a single screen.
I think you just answered my first question is, you know, we've tried approaches like this before, but it was years ago. We didn't have the technology right. And there was a few things that made it hard. One was a device that I evaluated has to be 10 years ago. It had to use its own software. Everyone's using Teams and Zoom and WebEx. This we can use the regular. If I like my Teams, I can use my Teams with this.
Sure. The way we tried with Teams in the bring your own device mode, like 1 year ago, and we realized that the type of client we have were mainly moving from Teams, bring your own device, to MTR. So we decided to transform the product into more like a peripheral one, where you only have HDMI for the display and HDMI for the camera. And like this is just a peripheral that you connect to your MTR or your Zoom room. And basically the fact that it's like, there is no interaction possible, no user experience beyond the fact that it's in the center, there is zero friction. So we don't even do the audio part. So there is no controller. It's basically a screen and a camera.
Okay, so I could think of it as, you know, like, so we have these all-in-one units that we put on the wall that have the monitor and the screen. Well, the monitor is the screen and the camera and the audio. And we're like, oh, it's all in one. We just plug it into our Microsoft Teams and our Zoom. We're good to go. This works the same way. So it's basically what we're used to as far as the technology.
Exactly, but it's a missing piece. It means that before COVID, it was okay to have only one display, to only display sometimes content because we had a meeting once in a while. But now that you are in hybrid, you have meetings every day with new people. You don't know the people inside your company. So you want to engage in a better way. And you don't want to open your laptop in order to get that proximity that you had during 2 years when COVID arrived. And so basically it's like we try to have true meeting equity, meaning for the people who are inside the meeting, in-person participant, for them it's like a natural meeting, meaning you can engage, you have an alignment, you sense, you see the non-verbal signals, and you are close to your peers. And the top of this is you remote colleagues, they are exactly in front of your eyes. So once you engage, once you are into the conversation part, which always arrive at one point because there is an issue, when it's becoming critical, exactly when you really need to get aligned, your remote colleagues are exactly where they should be. So there is a human need, which is like how to get aligned. And with this, with looking, with eye contact, it's all here. So it's all about behaviors, changing behaviors in order to make sure that you have the right setup. As I said, we are the missing piece. And basically in 5 minutes, you are used to that. In fact, it's so natural that you just forget that there is a technology. It's just for you, it's like normal. And for the people who are remote,
I gotta say, I don't want to interrupt, but I have to say what I've been thinking this whole time is we just, set up this is a virtualized demo. I'm using some magic tricks to make the demo. That's why the people around you are still, they would be moving, they would be real people. But this is the first time I've had a conversation with you in this mock-up. I'm used to it already. And that was one of my red flags. I really thought I had a bunch of red flags, and one of them is I'm going to be sitting in a meeting and I'm not going to be thinking about what you're saying. I'm going to be thinking about this is weird. And I'm already so used to this, and it's just we've been talking for a couple of minutes. So I'm sorry, please continue.
Yep. That's what for me, the moment I understood I got a product market fit is I had a colleague, industry, doing the quality industry, coming from the industry, hardware manufacturer. And we were starting to have internal meetings with our own device. And suddenly she was like, oh my God, I got it. This is really a must have. I'm entirely convinced. And I could sense from her emotions that for her it was adoption. So what's really interesting now is because we moved from demo units to enterprise-ready deployment, and we can sense how the joy, the surprise, as you could see in the video, the CIO saying it's unbelievable. But beyond the form factor is cool. Okay, it's cylindrical, it's cool, it's flexible display, it's brand new, it's high technology, it's a bit expensive. That's for the core. But for the base, in fact, it's so logical that we have a second screen that I'm like, why now? And why I'm the only one trying to change this? So in fact, I know there are other competitors trying to do that. It's just maybe we were a bit quicker than others. And also because when COVID arrived, I realized that the world would transform into hybrid work because I also came from that world, meaning I was a remote worker for 5 years. I was sleeping during meeting. I was nowhere. So I was like, how is it possible that my colleagues even don't realize that I'm sleeping?
Because they're not looking up at the...
Because they couldn't see me. I was nowhere. So that's the thing that, so engagement, we reshuffle, we rebalance, and now remote people with this, even if they don't realize, they have more presence than the people around the device. And that's the coolest thing ever. You imagine you are a coach, a facilitator, you don't have to take your flight, you don't have to take your car, you don't have to come every day to do your workshop. You can do it from your home and you are in the center. That's the idea.
You know, I can answer the question, I think, of why no one else is doing it or has done it yet is if this was a year ago, 2 years ago for sure, I would have said, I got too many red flags. There's too many reasons not to do it. And I think, you know, usually with the video conferencing industry, innovation comes from within the industry. It's really hard for an outsider. You're going to have a tough road ahead of you. It's hard for an outsider to come in. It's a little family. But usually the innovation, the safe innovation is what sold last year, make a better version of it. We love video bars. I love video bars. They solve so many problems. And for the last few years, it's been, this year we got a better video bar and everyone's happy. So a little risky, a little scary. Also, we've tried this before, and we tried it before. We learned, but we had a few things wrong. So now we're scared to make the same mistakes of the past, but we've learned from those mistakes. One of the things that we got wrong before is when we did it before, we made it the furniture. It was a big table that sat in the middle of the room. People already have their tables. They want something that can go, you know, on top of the table. We also had versions that were just too big. There was a big boxy version that was like twice the size of yours. And you couldn't see the people you were talking to. The angles weren't quite right. They were also too finicky. The technology wasn't ready at the time. Once you placed it, you had to configure it and nobody touch it, you know, and this is a little more forgiving. You can put it down. It knows what the people are. We know what people are now. So all these red flags of why we didn't do it in the past, I think you've solved them. And the biggest one, I think, is actually beyond your control, which is we're ready for the idea now. We're ready for center of table. We weren't before. It was different. The way the world works is video is on the wall, but it solves the eye contact problem. And it's not just new people like you coming in. It's the industry leaders are having center of table cameras, and they don't.
Sure.
They don't mess around. You know, they're only doing something if they've done the research and they know the market is ready for it. So the people who should be joining us at this meeting room, they're cool with the idea. This isn't too weird. It's not too new. 2 years ago, I would have said, oh, red flag, red flag. You knocked off all my red flags, I think. And the biggest one for me was what I just experienced myself. I'm like, once we do this virtual thing, am I going to be like, I'm sorry, I'm too distracted by it's different. No, as you were talking to me, I'm just having a conversation with you. I really got used to it quickly.
What's interesting here is you can compare the size of our display with the screen behind. And this is exactly the idea, is you don't need to have a dual screen. You don't need to have a 21:9 very, very large screen. What you only need is a scalable solution that you connect with HDMI, you just do the landscape to portrait mode. You just connect the camera and it's working on your Lenovo, Crestron, Poly, Dell, Logitech tab, Windows-based, MTR. And that's really the enterprise ready I wanted to achieve. I also want to thank, in fact, MTR, the kiosk mode, which with a one-touch join, because otherwise I would have a problem with a bring your own device. People need to define which screen. In our case, with the MTR, it's automatically faces on the right part and content to the right location. So it's so easy to install that 2 weeks ago, our client Bob said, well, I put it on the table, I say nothing, and I know that people used it, and nothing happened, no issues, so they just use it and they were happy with that. So
That's a big one. If people can't figure it out,
that's a big one.
they're just going to turn it off.
You did that like for full 1 week without training? No, he said no, it's on track. It's all good. So now they're gonna deploy in multiple locations. They have like 18 factories inside the world, all around the world, and yeah, we have the support of our lead client, and we have multiple FMCGs, watchmakers, large organization, financial organization, and it's, as you said, it's a perfect time because now I don't have to do the education for the 360 camera at least. It's like 2 years ago, I mean, Ola had a lot of work in order to convince that, but still people were still looking at faces because of the screen. So after a while, I could hear stories, people saying, yeah, but we only look at profiles. And that's the reason why Logitech with the site and the full SDK with IntelliFrame, having the combination, but the fact that they come with this, which is how to keep the God view plus the 360 camera all together, it's because they didn't want to kill the God view. But at one point, the God view is not that relevant. From the moment that you have a good 360 camera and the second screen in the right place, then you have the eye contact, then you don't need a dual system. And another good news I want to also say is a multiple camera coming. Well, it exists for Zoom, but it will come for Microsoft Teams. And for me, it's important, meaning I can't wait to send the 4 cameras with high resolution. And like this, you're gonna really have the same experience like a remote call. And even if you are coming as an in-person participant, and that's when we will succeed this. I mean, it's going to be fantastic because then we're going to embrace true meeting equity.
Oh, one more thing. I don't think I made you mentioned it, but I don't think I made the point clearly enough. Is that another problem we have with these devices is how do you share the content on them? Because then faces move around and it's confusing. And you made the design choice of we don't share content on this. This is just like just like these chairs here. They're for people. The chairs are for people. This device is for people. That's why you keep saying second screen, which I need to key into, because this is my screen for people, and this is my screen for content. Just as if everyone was here.
It's good that you repeat that. I said it before, but it's always good to repeat sometimes because that's a big difference of concept between the Polycom Central back in the days, 1 meter 8 and wide and 100 kilos. This device is 30 centimeters. It's about 20 inches, 8 and wide, and like 6 kilos. So it's really portable. And
I might have it. I think I made it a little bit too big here. This looks a little bit bigger than it is, I think, but it's approximately.
I don't think so. I think
I did
that's
good?
right. I think. Yeah. It's like a LP, the music LP.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's the same size, 30 centimeters.
I think we got it. All right. Well, let me bring you back because, as I said, since I do have the magic powers, this is,
you have magic powers.
If we have the magic powers, this is ideal. It's nice to have you right here sitting next to me. In the real world where we don't have magic powers, and now we have, it's always which way, right? High five? Can we do a high five? It's a little tough to get. There we go. That was good. So anything before we wrap up, anything important about the product that I forgot to ask? Is there? Do we have? When was it publicly available? Is there a price point?
Yep, it's about just a bit below $10,000 for the core. The cylindrical for medium meeting rooms, and if you put 2 or 3 devices for large meeting rooms, and for the base, which is basically the cubicle, it's a half price. It's below $5,000, and so we are open to discuss with new channels, with resellers, with distributors. We have to do all that work because we waited to be really market ready, enterprise ready before defining which channels we're gonna work with. And I mean, the idea next year is to build our own factory also in USA in order to get closer to our clients and to have a proper launch at InfoComm next year, 2014.
Wow, excellent. Big plans.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then you're going to have to be coming back here often to keep me updated because I think we're going to be having a lot of news from you. But thank you for giving me this exclusive. I'm going to share all the relevant links, the link to the press release, the link to your keynote video in the description. And yep. I really appreciate this. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, David. So cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
You did it. You put remote people, me, in the middle of your video. Incredible presentation. Thanks so much.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. Take care.
Yeah.